High up in the Bradshaw Mountains is a historic little town named Crown King, popular with off-roaders from the Phoenix, Arizona region. On an early Saturday morning, we decided to take a ride from Prescot, Arizona, all the way to Crown King on this mostly off-pavement historic road. Along the way, we found a little bit of history, some beautiful views, and a few small thrills. My name is Slim, the AI voice of this here Colorado ZR2. I'm joined today by our driver Glenn and a very special guest, the forever camera shy Amy. Welcome, Amy. So happy to have her as a voice of reason for once. All right, folks, buckle up and get ready for our drive from Prescott to Crown King down the old Senator Highway. You know it's going to be a good time, Cactus Atlas style. Okay, let's get the briefing of today's off-pavement mission. The Senator Highway is an old road that served the mining industry of this area since the 1800s. The oldest portion of the road was a toll road dating all the way back to 1866. We like to use onX Offroads to get our trail stats. The technical rating of this trail, according to onX, is a 3 out of 10, which usually is an indicator that it's pretty easy. onX says the route is about 30 miles long and takes about 8 hours to do. We got it done in less time, so perhaps their estimate takes into account stops we passed up. Pay mind to the fact that part of this route connects with another road known as the Backway to Crown King near the end, and that section is rated a 4 out of 10, and we did indeed experience much bumpier conditions on this last leg. You can read various blog posts out there that describe the road as deteriorating over the years, citing the way as pretty rough in spots. Some will say high clearance 4-wheel drive is required, and others will say it's easy for anyone. We'll let you make up your own mind after watching our video, but all we'll say is we would not attempt it in Amy's Volkswagen Golf, and she informed us if we ever tried, Glenn will enjoy sleeping out in the garage with me. All in all, this trail is probably best enjoyed in the summer on a dry day. This area does get heavy rain from time to time, as well as snow, so plan accordingly and don't do anything reckless. Okay, let's catch up with Amy and Glenn at the beginning of the route in Prescott.
You could see all these really beautiful Victorian homes on either side of the road here. Well, just in case, I should introduce that we have a passenger along for the ride today, don't we?
Who, me?
Yes, you, Amy.
I'm here.
You are here to go down the Senator Highway.
I am.
All the way to Crown King, Arizona and beyond.
And beyond.
So the overall game plan this morning is we're going to drive through Prescott here, and what I believe will be taking us through some pinyon juniper forest, ponderosa pine, as we make our way out to Crown King on the Senator Highway. Look at the snow up there. See the snow? Maybe we'll see snow up close and personal and Amy can have a snowball fight with some feisty mule deer.
The first few miles are on pavement, as you can see. The Prescott area is absolutely beautiful. If you have some time before your drive to Crown King, you might want to kick back at Prescott's Whiskey Row and drink where Doc Holliday once did. Just don't slam a few shots of Old Overholt and hop in your side-by-side. Leave the driving to the Wyatt Earp of your group, not the drunken skinny lunger.
Doc, been hitting awful hard, haven't you?
Nonsense. I've not yet begun to defile myself.
Not far from Prescott, the pavement will soon give way to dirt. And from here on, you'll be driving down a pretty well-maintained dirt road for most of the time, save for a couple rough spots we'll show you down the way. At first, you'll be deep within dense and healthy ponderosa pine forest. It's a refreshing change of scenery compared to the more barren desert where we come from. Now, of course, if you know how things work here on the Cactus Atlas, we have a couple veteran tree sniffers on board. Glenn especially has made a habit of smelling ponderosa pines, so I guess now is as good a time as any for his obligatory ponderosa pine sniffer shot.
All right, like looky what we see right off the road here. It is a nice tall ponderosa pine, and Amy's already scoped it out and gave it a smell. I don't think it's prime smelling season yet, but we try to find the more orangey looking ones because those seem to emanate a more sophisticated bouquet. I got Amy into this ponderosa pine sniffing thing now too. All right, let's try this out. Yeah, you could smell a little. You're right, Amy. Like you got to get your nose into little crevices here. But you smell the faint smell of that vanilla butterscotch smell. All right, that's the best way to start a trip. Amy says here's the mother load. You got some sap, and she says it smells more fragrant than what we smelled earlier. So let me get my nose in here. Amy's telling me that taking sap harms the tree, so she's read it. Oh yeah, you smell it a lot more. It is a lot more fragrant. We're gonna try to figure out a way to bottle up these smells and sell them, I think. That'll be our wares on the Cactus Atlas. Anyway, that was a good smelling this morning, but I've smelled better.
Maybe it's because I'm a truck and Glenn did not equip me with olfactory functions and just don't get it, but if I came around a corner and saw that going on, I'd be thinking, what an asshole. Aw, well, I guess he could be into sniffing worse things. By now, I think you understand the nature of the road. Dirt, pines, higher elevation. Much of the drive is just like this, and we found it quite relaxing and enjoyable, especially in the early morning before the masses hit the dirt. I'm excited to see what's up the road a ways. As we drove the curvy, dusty Senator Highway, we started to notice a lot more patches of leftover snow up here, and the occasional sound of a river or creek anytime we pulled over to catch views. We heard there might be a river or creek crossing back here, and as you'll see, there is. But Glenn, the sometimes cautious, as he was known today, decided to pull over and survey the situation on foot.
Eat my dust. You can see a little mountain stream down there. I don't know if that is the Hasayampa. I just read that I think we cross it, but you can see it's whatever that is flowing nicely. It's small, but you see all of that snow like right on the other side over here. It's making me want to head for the mountains, that nice mountain stream.
All right, let me help move it along. Glenn and Amy surveyed a bit more and didn't see any evidence of treacherous river crossings and decided to move on. The most exciting spot of the drive so far was when we crossed this little river or creek. Not sure if it ever gets worse than this, but I'd call it a refreshing little spritz if that. For me, dipping my tires in the waters is the equivalent of the nice wet nap you get after eating crab legs at Red Lobster. There's a really cool point of interest a little ways up the road we'll get to shortly, but I wanted to give you a few more shots of the Senator's Highway, since that is the focus of the show after all. The deeper you drive down the road, it can get a little bumpy at times. Passengers might get tossed around here and there.
Can't even really see how look below me here. Fudge. Whoa, look at this.
Oh my.
Oh my. So you can get through here with like something like slim, but if you were in a wider truck, you gotta be careful too not to scratch the side of your truck in situations like this.
We'll tell you now that there's some rougher patches still ahead, but you can kind of see, at this point, the road does have deteriorated rocky sections where you probably want tires suitable for this sort of thing. Other than the bumpy parts, it's a nice little drive and highly enjoyable. Morning was a great time to do this one, especially because there was so little traffic, making taking blind corners a little more relaxing. Here's a couple more clips from the road. For us, one of the highlights of the drive is close at hand, one of the oldest buildings in Arizona. Welcome to Palace Station. The sign here says it all, so I'll just read it aloud to you. This cabin was built in 1874 by the Spence family and is one of the oldest structures in Arizona. It served as a stage station on the Senator Trail from Prescott to Phoenix until 1910 and is now used by the U.S. Forest Service. Aha, trust me, much more concise than Glenn's version.
I imagine, though, this is where travelers going up and down the old Senator Highway with their horses and wagons and buggies would have stopped up here at the station, maybe let their horses get a nice cool drink down here at the bottom here at this river or creek or whatever it is. But isn't that a beautiful little mountain stream? The birds chirping here in springtime, the spring melts, crystal clear water. Absolutely beautiful.
All right, I'll give Glenn a little credit where it's due. This is a beautiful scene by the river, where we can remember those who watered their horses and mules as far back as the 1870s. There you have it, Palace Station, one of the oldest buildings in Arizona. Let it continue to stand the test of time. Now, time to get back on the road to Crown King. Hard to believe after all that driving that we've only gone about 15 miles since we left Prescott. That's about half the estimated distance. But don't worry, I'll summarize a little from here. I want to get to the tougher spots so I can show you. The views opened up for the next several miles as we started to come out on the southern slopes of these mountains. And so it went for miles. We'd come in and out of trees here and there, crossed a few trickling creeks, but all in all, still pretty easy and enjoyable. Here was our trickiest maneuvering of the day. We were climbing a deteriorated rocky section of road and saw a fella on foot up ahead. As we approached, we realized there was a small group studying the way forward and blocking the way. We didn't want to have to back up all the way back down the rocky, narrow hill, so we pulled over and made enough room for the group to pass. This is a good example of the rocky terrain up here that could do a number on the wrong type of tire. All in all, that was probably the worst spot of the day, which wasn't that bad in our opinion. Although, like I told you before, that section of road that heads into Crown King from this direction had some of the biggest ruts and uneven sections of the day. That part was a little slow going, but we got it done no problem. And what else can we tell you from there? All that's left to do at this point is to roll into Crown King, drop by one of the local establishments for a cold one or a burger or both. It's a really cool town, and we plan to return to check out some of the other food options up here. We made it. That's 2 ways up to Crown King marked off the list. Next time, we'll plan on taking the back way in, which we hear might be the most challenging way in of all. If this drive seemed to be a bit much for what you are willing to attempt, then check out the video we made taking the main way up to Crown King. Chances are that way would be much less stressful for some. Well, that about does it for today's off-road route. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and tell your friends. We'll be back again next week with new stuff. We hope to see you then.